home after the last meeting, and I was in a little bit of a state of panic, because I thought, I've got to prepare this speech, this hour-long speech, and then I've got to go and do something at Speakers Club. What am I going to do? So I looked at my book, speaker's book, and it said, for an F1, can be an introductory speech just telling people about you. So I thought, okay. So what I'd like to do this evening is tell you a little bit about me and my early career, how I got into running my own marketing business, and the 3 things that I recommend for small businesses to do to raise their lead generation and profits within a company. So my early career, I graduated in electronics way back in 1986, and my first job was working for Marconi in Swindon, up at Groundwell, and after a couple of years of working at Marconi, they decided they were going to close the factory, and I had to make a decision of, well, did I go this way or this way? What did I want from my career? And at that time, around the mid-80s, there was a TV programme with Sir John Harvey Jones. I don't know if any of you are familiar with him, but he was a very prominent businessman, and he had a TV show where he'd go into businesses, failing businesses, and he'd turn them around. And I thought, I want to be the female John Harvey Jones. That's what I want to do. So instead of taking a job at Motorola, which with hindsight was probably a good move, I took a job with a management consultancy in Belgium. And I worked for their engineering department, and my job was working with processes. So it was looking at the workflow of things. I worked with the Daily Express, I worked with the Mirror Group, steel mills in Rotherham and Sheffield, and the credit card companies in Southend, and I did a whole variety of things. The most interesting one was the Mirror Group, and it was around the time that Robert Maxwell went missing off his boat. And when we went into the Mirror Group, my job was to save them money on the paper they used to print the newspapers. So they had this massive factory. The paper was on rolls that were about this size, and they zipped around the factory with little robots. And it was great, it was really interesting. But the whole culture of that business, managed by Robert Maxwell, was one of just fear. Everybody was absolutely terrified to say anything, to do anything, to give us any information. It was absolute fear until he went missing on his boat. And then suddenly everybody was, you know, everything came out, all these horrendous stories of bullying and threats, and it was horrendous. So I did that job for a couple of years, and then I met my husband, and we moved to Nottingham. And I started working in IT, so I taught at the local college, teaching electronics and computing, and did that for 10 years. And when I had my twins, I decided that I needed to be near my mum. I had a 3-year-old and twin boys, and we moved back down to Swindon. And at that point I set up a training company called Solomon Training, and we taught maths and English and IT for people who were unemployed to help them get back into work. And I had a lady who would go down to the job centre every week, and she would talk to people about the courses that we offered and explain to them how it could help their job prospects, and train them up, make them more employable. But only 25% of the people that she talked to and made appointments for actually turned up on the day that they were meant to turn up. And that was where I got introduced to some marketing software. and it was a customer relationship management system. And I implemented it in that business, and what we did was we set up an appointment system and with a series of reminders. And this was probably around 2006, 2007, so it was quite innovative at the time. And that changed our conversion rate from 25% to over 80%, literally just by sending somebody an email saying, your appointment's on this day, are you coming, yes or no, click the button. If they didn't click the button, then the day before their appointment, my admin assistant would get a task on her list in the system, phone this person, they haven't confirmed that they're coming. And she would give them a call, yeah, I'm coming, or no, I'm not. So that was my first foray into sort of marketing automation. And I really, really liked it, and years later, I sold that company when I got divorced, and was thinking about what I wanted to do next. So I thought, I'll become a partner of this software, and I'll help other small businesses to increase their lead generation and their profits and everything. So that's what this talk was about this morning. So it was about what I do and how I help small businesses to move from an old way of selling. So the old way of selling is go out and do some marketing, get a load of leads. For every 100 that you get, maybe 5 or 10 or 2 will become customers, and then you go back again and you do it all again, and you keep repeating. What I advocate with people is a concept called life cycle marketing, and that's where you not only go and get new clients in, but you keep in touch with them the whole way through that customer journey and that life cycle. You're keeping in touch with them. So if life cycle marketing is about putting the right information in front of the right people at the right stage of their journey, and that will allow you to increase profits, increase the leads, and keep in touch with people who aren't ready to buy when they first meet you, but who then might be ready at some other stage along the way. And the first 3 things that I recommend businesses to do is, 1, get some forms on your website so that people can enter their information and then you can communicate with them. Setting appointments and follow-ups on appointments, and emails to continue and keep that communication going. And that's everything.